There we go. Yeah, so I'm Katie Herstein, and I am the program and events manager at Girl Scouts of Colorado. So I get to be the lucky one who is the host of Inspiring Futures and get to talk to a whole bunch of fantastic, inspiring women to find out their educational pathway, their careers, their challenges, their celebrations, and more. And this Inspiring Futures series is brought to us by College Invest. They're Colorado's college savings program. And here's a video message from the CEO and a couple Girl Scouts.
Hi Girl Scouts, we're here at the Girl Scout Dream Lab with Angela Bio.
Angela is the CEO of College Invest.
I've participated in a lot of the Inspiring Futures programs, but my favorite was the one with people from SeaWorld because I would like to work with animals someday. Lily, what's been your favorite?
My favorite Inspiring Futures video is going back to Bloom and the light pictures for the circus because I would always want to know how the lights work and or what moves them. Angela, you are Ari. What future career inspired you?
That's a great question, Lily. When I was a young girl, I dreamed of working at the Denver Zoo, and I actually got to do that when I turned 30. But what's most important at your age is to be able to see that anything is possible. And with Inspiring Futures, presented by College Invest, you get to meet some amazing women. Women are doing things like working with animals, racing cars, catching criminals, helping those in need, and so much more. And did you know that you can do the Future Me Patch program at home with your caregiver? And it's a fun way to take a deeper dive on what your future may look like. And not only is this patch glow in the dark, but we'll also give you $100 in your College Invest account to help make your dreams a reality.
Let's be inspired!
Awesome. So just a little bit more about College Invest. So College Invest, as I said, they're Colorado's college savings program, and they make it easy for you to save and your parents to save for your education after high school. So they're kind of like a piggy bank, but even better. So, and I'll explain that. So basically you can open an account, your parents can open an account, put birthday money in there, grandparents gift money, things like that. And each year they will grow and grow. That money will grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. And when it comes time to take it out to use it specifically for education, college, apprenticeship programs, trade schools all over the country, when that money comes out of that account, it's tax free. So there's no tax on it, tax free. And it's just a wonderful way to save. And at the end of the session, I'll tell you a little bit more about the Future Me Patch program, which can get you $100 started off in your College Invest account. So next up is a little bit of housekeeping stuff. So we are recording this session so that it can be up on our Inspiring Futures YouTube channel, along with all the other guests that we have up there for any Girl Scouts that were unable to attend tonight, or any Girl Scouts who want to see some of the past Inspiring Futures we've had. So, but we'd love to see your faces. So reveal yourselves if you want, I should say. And, you know, if you have questions, you can unmute, you can put it into the chat, you can raise your Zoom hand, you know, whatever you feel most comfortable with. So next up, we have the Girl Scout Promise and Law. Do I have anybody who wants to unmute and do this with me? So here we go. On my honor, I will try to serve God and my country, to help people at all times, and to live by the Girl Scout law. And then we have the Girl Scout law. I will do my best to be honest and fair, friendly and helpful, considerate and caring, courageous and strong, responsible for what I say and do, and to respect myself and others, respect authority, use resources wisely, make the world a better place, and be a sister to every Girl Scout. I love every time I say that, I think about the fact that Girl Scouts all over this country are saying that exact same thing. It's pretty awesome. So next up is, you don't want to hear me talk on and on. What you came here for is to hear from Dr. Kumar all about her journey through the medical education and through hospitals and things, her to become a chief medical officer, and just inspiring people, especially young women, to pursue a medical degree. So I will stop sharing my screen and I will welcome Dr. Kumar.
Hey guys, can you hear
There
me?
you go. Hi there.
Hi,
To Inspiring Futures.
good afternoon. Are you able to hear me well?
Yes.
Awesome. Katie, if I have your permission, I can share some slides.
Yeah.
All right. There we go.
Great. We can see him clearly.
Perfect. All right, so I am Dr. Kumar. You can call me Jaya or Miss Jaya, and I'm a doctor, as Katie said, and I'll be talking a little bit about my journey. I have a unique story, and especially from my family background, we'll go over some of that. Then I'll talk about how I chose what I do, like to become a doctor and why, and my journey through being a physician and then transitioning to something that we call a chief medical officer and what a chief medical officer does in the hospital. Is that good? Give me a thumbs up if that's good. Perfect. Perfect. So the slide that you're seeing right now is my family back home in India. I was born in India in a very, very small town. The town had about 5,000 people in it, not many. It was a small town away from the main city. There were not many good schools or colleges in there. And I had a small house, very humble beginnings, not like a luxurious lifestyle. I had probably limited number of clothes, limited number of shoes, but a very caring family. My mom and dad are both professors. My dad taught botany, which is the plant sciences, and my mom taught language, Hindi, which is the language that we speak in India, one of the languages. The unique thing about my family was my mother was a great woman, an inspiring woman, more than myself I am today. She, in her age, in 1940s, when she was born, in this small town that we were in, they were not allowed to go to school, the girls. They weren't allowed to get education. They weren't allowed to go to college because it was just that way in that society back then. So her dad knew nothing better. He thought that was the norm, and he told her she couldn't attend a school or a college. But that was very disappointing for her. She was one of the oldest of 9 brothers and sisters. So in her family, there were 9 brothers and sisters, and she was the oldest of them. And she thought that if she didn't go to school, none of the others would. So that kind of bothered her. And she wanted to go to school, and she wanted to do great things and become a great person, but she wasn't allowed to. So what she did was she went on hunger strike. That meant that she stopped eating for a little bit and wanted her dad to send her to school, and said if he didn't want to send her to school, she will die of hunger. So that was very rebellious in those days, because the girls didn't go to school and she was the only one wanting to do so. And her dad was conflicted on what he should do and what he shouldn't. But she was so persistent and persuasive that eventually her dad agreed. She didn't eat for like 3 days before her dad agreed to let her go to school. What an achievement in those days. None of the other girls in the neighborhood went to school, but she convinced her dad to send her to school. And guess what? She went to school, and after school, she went to college. And after college, she attained a PhD degree in her subject, which was Hindi. So she was the first woman in the entire state to achieve a college degree, and that to a PhD. How impressive was that? And she did all that with having a family. She got married to my father, and she had 3 kids. The youngest one you see in the picture is me, and the 2 older ones are my brothers. So she went to college, she got married, she had kids, and my dad supported her in whatever she did. And I'll show you a picture. Look at that. That's her getting a degree. She was the first woman to get a degree from a college in those days. And on you can see her holding the degree and in her graduation gown. And at the bottom of the picture, you can see her with all her 3 kids, including myself in the middle there, the little girl in the middle. She was a role model for me all through my life. I grew up looking at her, trying to balance her life, taking care of us kids, and then taking care of her job, and then taking care of her house. She wanted it all, and she wanted it all her way. And she never gave up on her dreams until she got all of them. She not only just educated herself, but she had 8 other siblings who she made sure got the education they needed. So all of her siblings got educated. Some of them grew up with us in our house because she wanted them with us. They all went to colleges. They all had college education. All 3 of us, the kids you see in this picture, grew up to become going to college and getting great education. And she was the one who was responsible for that. And my father supported her in whatever she did. That was really impressive. She's my role model in whatever I do today. Let me show you this picture. This is me now. That's my husband. His name is Sanjeev, and I have 3 little kids, just like you guys, maybe a little bit older. My oldest is in high school, and the other 2 are in middle school. And I try to give them the same values and moral that my mom raised me with. All girls can do whatever they want and however they want. So never give up on your dreams. While growing up, I wanted to become a doctor because of 2 reasons. My grandma died when I was 10 years old, and she died in front of my eyes. She had a massive stroke. A stroke is a neurological condition that happens in your brain when your arteries, blood supply to the brain gets blocked. She had a stroke and she died right in front of me. And I was devastated because my grandma was my best friend. And that inspired me. That night, I asked my dad, like a curious little kid like you guys, I asked him, Dad, why are people born when they die? Why did grandma have to die? And what he replied to me still resonates and still is my guiding light. He told me people are born to give back to the communities they're born in. So do something great that helps the people so people can remember you when you go away. And that was something so striking to me that I still remember it, that conversation with him, even though it was so long ago, it feels really fresh in my mind. That motivated me to go into medicine and become a doctor and help other people. Suffering, there was a lot of suffering where I was born. There were people who died who didn't need to, who had illnesses that we could have saved them if we had good medical care. So I went on to medical school, and then I came to the United States with my husband. I followed him because I wanted to support him in what he was doing, and he wanted to come here for his job, and I wanted to come here for a better future. So both of us came here in the year probably 1998. That's been a way long time ago. When you come here, I did my residency, which is a specialization, and then I specialized in kidney disease. So I'm a kidney doctor. Can any of you tell me who is a kidney doctor? What kidneys do? Raise your hand if you know. Yay, tell me.
Kidneys are basically they help all the bad things that come from when you eat food, and they get it out of your body. Take some bad stuff out of your blood, I think.
Awesome, yeah. Kidneys are responsible for filtering your blood off of all the toxic waste products we generate during our day-to-day lives. So anything bad and dangerous to the body, the kidney filters it out. And how does it come out of your body? It comes out like pee, in the pee. So your pee is the water that contains all those materials that don't need to stay in our body. And I chose being a kidney doctor because I was very fascinated with how the blood and the cleaning part works. So I really wanted to understand more and so I went on to specialize in kidneys. So when you're a doctor, you do 4.5 years of medical school, then 3 hours of additional training, which we call 3 years of additional training, which we call residency. And then you do specialization in whatever field you want. So a lot of school going. So once I became a kidney doctor, I worked at a university in Texas, in Dallas. And I saw kidney patients. And, you know, when you're a doctor, like regular doctors who see patients and go home and come back, and you can see a certain fixed number of patients. So you can see probably 20 patients a day maximum, or maybe 22. I always had an interest in helping more people than just the ones I saw. And how could I do that always bothered me. I wanted to make a difference in more lives than just my patients. I wanted to affect a lot of patients, like a hospital or maybe the community or a group of hospitals. So that was something in my mind all the time, that I wanted to help more patients than just who came to see me in my clinic or in my office or in the hospital. So how could I do that? And the way we could do that was to go into something called hospital administration, where if you're the doctor or the chief medical officer for the hospital, you get to be responsible for all the patients in the hospital that come through. So that would mean way more than 15 or 20 that see you every day or every other month, however. So I thought that was a fascinating job, that I could make a difference in a number of lives, maybe thousands, maybe millions, by becoming a chief medical officer. So that's how I chose to become a chief medical officer. And now, what does a chief medical officer do? So a chief medical officer is the boss of all the doctors in the hospital. So like Swedish Medical Center, has any one of you heard about Swedish Medical Center in Englewood? It's the big hospital. We have about 500 beds. We can take care of 500 patients at one time in the hospital. And these are patients who need to come to the hospital because they're really sick. These are not the ones where you go to your pediatrician's office and come back. These are patients who actually are really sick enough that they need to stay in a hospital and get treated. Does anyone have any questions so far? All of you getting what I'm saying? Give me a thumbs up. Okay. So a hospital is a place that treats really sick patients. And these are patients who need to stay in the hospital for days, maybe weeks, maybe months. Some people need surgeries. Some people even die in the hospital. So these are really sick patients, and I wanted to make a difference in all the patients' lives. So that's how I became a chief medical officer. And as I said, the chief medical officer is the head doctor for the hospital. So I get to supervise all the doctors that work here at the hospital. And there are about 1,500, 1,600 doctors that work at Swedish. In addition to that, I get to make protocols and policies that help all our patients. So how do we reduce infections in patients? How do we make sure that they don't have any complications while they're in the hospital? How do we make sure that the doctors are doing the right things? Because not every doctor is perfect. There are doctors who don't behave well. There are doctors who may not be doing what they're supposed to do. So who keeps a check on those? That's the chief medical officer. So the chief medical officer gets to be responsible for everything that happens in the hospital that is related to medical field. So not many people want to do that because it's a tough job. It's like 24/7. You have to be able to respond to your cell phone, or even if you're not at the hospital, you may need to come in because something is going on that you're worried about. There's always something in the back of your mind that you need to do. So it's a tough job, but it's very enjoyable because I get to save a lot of people, and I get to make sure that the hospital gives the best care to any patient that walks in. You know, the other thing that I love about my job is I get to connect with the community. I get to go out and interact with other organizations that are trying to help people like yours. I love that part about my job is I want to give back to the community. I want to give back to the patients. I want to connect to the society in a bigger way, and this job helps me do that. So there was a lot of hard work went on to this, and there are challenges. There's some good days and there's some bad days, but overall, I think this is a great job. But being a doctor itself, I think, is very fulfilling. Do you know that in medical school, 50% of the kids that go through medical school are women? So they're 50% men, but 50% women. But when it comes to practicing physicians, they're only 36% women and the rest are men. So something happens between medical school and practice that women drop out or don't want to practice anymore. And that's what I'm very passionate about, is why does that happen? Why don't girls continue on to go to 50 and 50% while they're practicing medicine in the real world? What changes in their life? They have responsibilities. Men don't drop off, but women drop off. And why is that? And that's what I want to make sure that all of you little young girls know, that this is a field where we need your help. Did you know that studies have shown that if women treated patients, they have better outcomes because they're more compassionate. They spend more time with their patients. They listen to them, they help them. So why don't we have more women in this field? Right? That's why I want you guys to know that this is a field where you can do really well if you wanted to. There will be challenges, but this is, if you're passionate about something, you can still do it, and you can do it with like every other person in the world. Did you know, like, I'll show you another slide here. In hospitals, 75% of the hospitals, the workforce, the people who work there are females, but only 31% are led by females. We need more women in leadership. Like me, I need more clones. I need you guys to help me, because you can make a difference and maybe in a better way than others can do, right? So with that, I'm going to take a break and I'll let you guys ask questions.
Girl Scouts, do you have any questions? Because I have a couple in my head, but We have a raised hand. Do you want to unmute and or do your video too and let us know what you want to ask?
You can do a video.
When you do your job, was it hard to change your job when you changed your job?
Like from being a bedside doctor to a hospital administrator? Yeah, I mean, I thought about it a lot. You're right. It's hard because you're gonna do more people, more patients. It's more people management at this time, right? I have to make sure people are doing the right things. Your hospital is doing the right things. So it's more responsibilities. But I always wanted to do that, and I had a passion to do that. So I wanted to take that challenge, and that's why I did it.
Yeah, that's great. It's a good question. So you can go through our jobs and then make a pivot within the industry we work in instead of just, jumping out of the industry that you're in and trying something wholly brand new. Well, I love what you said, Dr. Kumar, about, just discovering the sort of gap between females doing education for medicine, but not taking the next step and actually working in medicine and working in the hospitals. And a very traditional Girl Scout way of things is to discover, connect, and take action. So that's the discovery point of, hey, wait a minute, what's going on here? And then to connect, to say, let's do a little bit of research and find out why are these women not continuing on, and then to take action to figure out what could we do about it, who could I talk to make the change that I've learned why these women are not doing it. So I'm guessing that somebody is trying to figure out why women are not making it past from the jump from school to working in the hospitals. And has there been any research?
There's several reasons, and generally we see that women have more lifestyle responsibilities. They feel more obligated to taking care of their kids, their household. During COVID, a lot of women physicians quit their jobs because they wanted to be at home with their children. Then there are other responsibilities, like they're caregivers for not just their kids, but for their parents. Or some people find that this job is too taxing, and going further in their career with this would not be compatible with what they're wanting to do. But again, why this difference between men have a mindset, like if they want to do something, they'll do it. We think about a lot of things before we make our choices.
Right.
Even within specialties, there's a lot of difference. So there's certain specialties like neurosurgery, where you do brain surgery, or cardiac surgery, or orthopedic surgery, bone surgery. There are not many women. In fact, orthopedic surgery has the lowest concentration of women that take up that specialty, 6%. Imagine, 94% of orthopedic surgeons are men, only 6% are women. So there's something that demotivates women from taking that specialty. And we also think that there's a lack of mentors in that world. So there are not many. I'm more likely to choose a specialty if I see a mentor who's like me in that specialty. So historically, these specialties have been dominated by men. So women don't get mentored and coached into these specialties when they think that's not their place, because historically there not been many people there of their kind. But that should change, and that has changed to some extent. But we've come a long way in medicine. Medicine historically, if you know, in 1600s, none of the women were allowed to go in medicine. In the United States, Elizabeth Blackwell, she was the first woman to go into medicine, and that was in 1849.
Wow.
So historically, medicine has been unfair to women because people just didn't trust women in those days going to become doctors, and you'll see movies made on that. But if you learn about the history of Dr. Elizabeth Blackwell, it's really inspiring on how she was the first woman to go to medicine and the hardships she faced when she was in her class because they made fun of her for being a woman, the only person in the entire class of 100 men. When I was going to school, I went to school in India, and out of 200 medical students, we were 10 women in that class. It was rough, to say the least. It was rough. But then we got through it. We were really persistent and motivated to do it. So those times have changed. And now, like I told you, in medical schools, 50% women and 50% men. So we've come a long way in that. But again, going forward, how do we make sure like women get treated the same way and they have the same hurdles as men? I mean, we have a hurdle race essentially, and we have more hurdles in front of us than the other gender for some reason or the other. Some of these are self-inflicted, some of these are societal norms, we call it, and we tend to hold ourselves to it. And the jobs are not fair either. Like when you're in real-time practice, there's not much flexibility for physicians, you know. You either do a really hard job or you don't. There's not much middle ground.
Right.
That's what we need to promote, is like flexibility in work life, you know. That'll promote more women and they will want to come into this.
Yeah.
Not demotivate to say it's so hard that I can't do it and I have to do it full time or I can't do it at all. You have to have the newer generation wants to look for that flexibility in work. Like if they can take off a day or two for their kids' school, that's great. I mean, that would help them stay in practice. And that's what majority of our societies are coming up with, like guidance for workplaces, universities on having like daycare at the university, having more mother-friendly institutions. So all that is in process, but we have a long way to go.
Right.
I think there's a hand up on Jen Phillips.
Yeah. Would you like to ask another question? We'd love to hear it.
How long have you been working in the hospital for?
So I graduated in 1998. I finished my medical school. Then I went through a bunch of training, like I said. Formally, I've been in practice, like in real world, since 2004. So it's been about, 20 years.
That's great. And do you find that medicine, I just had a thought in my head that if a woman does want to take a couple of years to do something with her newborn kids or things like that, do you still need to keep active throughout that, because medicine's going to change quickly and things you're learning and stuff is not something that you can take a break from and come back?
And it's harder. I mean, things have changed, but during training, people can take off maybe for a couple months and come back, but anything over 6 months raises a flag to the institution. So it's harder, but again, there are exceptions and we always make exceptions. But like I said, traditionally and that demotivates people. Is like, I had a family emergency and I had to take care of it and I needed this amount of time off and I have to write 10 letters to explain myself. So it can be done, but it's hard. And in practice, if you work for a place where they accommodate all of this, and there are places that would, then definitely it's doable. Traditionally in medicine, anything over 6 months is considered a longer break. So you have to explain that break that you did.
Right.
Anything over 6 months. But again, it can be done. It's not a hard no, it can be done.
Right.
You just have to be persistent and say, I'm going to come back. I do have some responsibilities I need to take care of in these months, but I will come back. And people have done, like, if you took a break for longer than maybe 5 years and you want to come back, there are courses that are offered. They're called refresher courses. You can go through them and come back into practice.
Interesting. My next question is, so the girls that are on tonight are kindergarten through 5th grade. And thinking back to, maybe this will be helpful, thinking back to when you were their age and thinking of the medical world, is there something that girls, and knowing what you're doing now, is there something that girls at that age group could be, you know, just a little more curious about or learn about, or, you know, maybe there's games on the internet to learn about more medical terms and things like that to sort of help them start on their journey?
Yeah, I think that curious mind is the key. Is like curiosity to what happens around you and having that interest in STEM. So science, technology, engineering, math, all these subjects are lead your brain to think more towards medicine or engineering. And I think curiosity towards that subject itself was my thing. Like I always ask questions like, why is chickenpox called chickenpox?
Yeah.
What do you think so? Did you ever
That's a
think
good
about
one.
it? But it was that kind of curiosity I've always had. Like, why is humorous called the funny bone, kind of a thing. So that was always in my mind, and I kept questioning my teachers, and they would laugh at me because I was like the curious George of the class. But that
Right.
made them go into, did you know why chickenpox was called a chickenpox? Because the pox that they came, they looked like if chicken pecks. So if like a chicken had pecked you, who knew? But I did all
Yeah.
the research to find out.
Right.
So
Well,
curious brain is always good, and I love kids who are curious. And my son, who is 12 and he wants to go into medicine, he asks me similar questions, and we laugh. Like, why is diabetes? Why high blood sugar hurts your body?
right.
So always question, don't take anything for granted, always question things around you. And that'll help you just grow a mindset that'll lead eventually to whatever you want to do. Not
Mhm.
just science or medicine. Curiosity is good for every kid.
It is, and don't be afraid to ask those questions, because a lot of people, especially adults, they like to tell you what they know, what they've learned, what they're excited about. So don't be afraid to ask.
And if they don't know, they go and search up Google and they'll find out.
Yep,
And they're new things we learn every day, right?
yep, yep. A lot of us are here to help our youth. So great. Well, girls, do you have any other questions or curiosities? Are any of you already thinking about medicine in your future? Oh, we do have a question. Great. Or a comment. Go ahead.
When you changed jobs, were you excited or just like a little nervous? Or like what were you feeling when you changed your jobs?
It was both. You know, when you change jobs or change places in any place, you'll be excited because you're taking up a new role, and you'll be nervous because you don't know how you're gonna do. But just be confident inside that whatever you do will be good. So just have faith in yourself, be confident, go with an open mind, know new people. You know, my kids moved from Texas to Denver for my job, and my daughter was very apprehensive on coming here, and she asked me, Mom, I'll lose all my friends. And my answer to her was, you'll keep your friends from here and you'll make new friends at the new place. You'll have double the number of friends that you currently have. So go with that open mindset to make new connections, new friends. And in fact, that's something in your life that I would recommend when you grow up, is to make as many connections as you can, because that's your support structure. You can call upon friends whenever you need to and say, hey, I'm thinking about this. What do you think? And that friend could help you in many ways. You know, jobs in here can come through various sources. One is through job sites, but the other is like, my friend knows I'm a good doctor, and she'll call upon me and say, hey, can you work here? This is a great place to work. So you make connections as you go in your life, and of course, meeting new people and going to new places and taking up new jobs is hard and is anxiety provoking and it makes you nervous. But do it. My mom always said, make yourself comfortable in places where you're uncomfortable.
Mm,
So if you feel like that place is uncomfortable, make yourself comfortable there and just make every effort to get to know the people, get to know the place and settle in there, make your mark there, make your mark, give back to the community. We all owe back to the community. We have grown in this community, we have grown in this society, and the mark we leave here will be remembered forever.
Very, very good message. I love it. So thank you so much, Dr. Kumar. This was wonderful to hear about all your background, your story. It's had a great impact on, I know it's had a great impact on me. So, and I'm sure it's had a great impact on the girls here too. So thanks, girls, for your time. If you want to unmute and give a warm thank you, I would love it.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. So nice to meet you all.
Yeah, great.
We're a great audience. And if any of you wants to go into medicine, feel free to connect to me. I'll be happy to help you and guide you in that direction.
Thank you. That's awesome. Great. All right, Girl Scouts, will have a great night, and feel free to visit the Inspiring Futures YouTube channel, and you can also visit Girl Scouts of Colorado to learn about the Future Me Patch. It actually glows in the dark. It's pretty cool. So I will send your parent, your caregiver information about that so you can learn a bit more about it. But have a great night, everybody. Bye.